Did you know Elvis Presley's music has been selling products for decades? Could the king of rock and roll be secretly influencing your purchasing decisions from beyond the grave? Number 10. Such a Night Nuinshell Insurance, 2005. Remember that commercial where a family is peacefully sleeping while a burglar attempts to break in? Probably not, because this Midas-Sime insurance commercial flew under the radar despite using Elvis's sultry 1960 recording of Such a Night. The ad cleverly played on the song's opening line. It was a night, ooh, what a night it was, while pouting the peace of mind their home security system provided. The commercial aired primarily during late-night television slots, which explains why so many people missed it. Elvis originally recorded Such a Night during his post-Army comeback sessions at RCA Studio B in Nashville, but the song wasn't a major hit compared to classics like Suspicious Minds or Burning Love. Nationwide chose this deeper cut specifically because research showed the tune resonated with their target demographic of homeowners aged 35 to 55 who grew up with parents who were Elvis. The ad only ran for about 6 months before being replaced, but it marked one of the first times an Elvis deep cut was licensed for a major national campaign. What's particularly interesting is that the commercial used the master recording rather than a cover version, indicating the Presley estate was becoming more open to commercial licensing of his catalog. Number 9. A Little Less Conversation, J. Exler Remix, Nike World Cup, 2002. Did you think this Elvis remix was only featured in that famous 2008 Nike commercial? Think again. While most people remember the massive global campaign that featured soccer stars like Ronaldinho, few recall that Nike actually first used this remixed Elvis track in a smaller World Cup commercial 4 years earlier. The 2002 spot featured international football stars preparing for the tournament, while Elvis's modernized vocals declared a little less conversation, a little more action. The remix by JX, Tom Holkenborg, transformed a minor Elvis song from the film Live a Little, Love a Little into a club-ready anthem that topped charts in over 20 countries. What's fascinating is that before Nike approached Elvis Presley Enterprises about using the song, it was virtually unknown to casual fans. The original 1968 recording had been buried deep in Elvis's extensive catalog until Dutch DJ JXL was granted rare permission to remix it. The 2002 commercial was a testing ground of sorts, with Nike executives unsure if younger audiences would connect with Elvis's voice. The positive response led directly to the much larger 2008 campaign that everyone remembers. Advertising insiders consider this one of the most successful examples of reviving a forgotten song through commercial placement. The track's journey, from forgotten film soundtrack to global hit, demonstrates how advertising can sometimes resurrect buried musical gems from even the most famous artists. Number 8. Rubberneckin Lipton Brisk Iced Tea, 1998. Ever seen a claymation Elvis dancing with a bottle of iced tea? In the late 1990s, Lipton's Brisk Iced Tea ran an animated commercial featuring a clay Elvis performing Rubberneckin while extolling the virtues of the beverage. This quirky ad was part of their larger campaign featuring clay versions of celebrities, but the Elvis installment has largely been forgotten. Rubberneckin was recorded in 1969 during Elvis's productive sessions at American Sound Studio in Memphis, the same sessions that produced Suspicious Minds and In the Ghetto. The song had a minor chart presence when released, but wasn't considered among his signature tracks. The commercial played on the song's energetic, funky vibe, with Clay Elvis gyrating while singing about how the T hits the spot. What made this ad particularly unusual was that Lipton secured permission not just for the song, but also for Elvis's likeness, something the Presley estate was notoriously protective of. The spot aired primarily during summer months and was targeted at younger consumers who might not have been familiar with this particular Elvis track. According to former Lipton marketing director Gerald Pemberton, "We wanted something with Elvis's energy but not something overplayed. Rubberneckin had that perfect blend of being authentically Elvis, while still feeling fresh to most viewers." The commercial caused a brief spike in interest in the song, with some compilation albums even adding it to capitalize on the exposure. The claymation Elvis was voiced by an impersonator, but the original master recording was used for the musical portions, introducing a whole new generation to this forgotten gem from Elvis's catalog. Number 7. Clean up your own backyard waste management. 2001. How could a song about cleaning up be more perfect for a garbage company? In 2001, waste disposal giant Waste Management launched a regional campaign featuring Elvis's obscure 1969 track, "Clean Up Your Own Backyard," from the film The Trouble with Girls. The commercial showed sanitation workers cheerfully going about their jobs, while Elvis advised listeners to "clean up your own backyard and don't you worry about mine." The song choice was incredibly on the nose for a garbage company. Yet because the track was from one of Elvis's least successful films, most viewers had never heard it before. The campaign ran primarily in southern states, with strong Elvis fan bases like Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. Waste Management's marketing team had been searching for a song that would resonate with both their workers and customers when a music supervisor suggested this forgotten Elvis tune. According to former Waste Management Regional Director Thomas Higgins, "We were shocked to find an Elvis song that literally mentioned cleaning up yards that most people had never heard before. It felt like finding buried treasure." The commercial was filmed in Memphis as a nod to Elvis's hometown and featured actual Waste Management employees rather than actors. After the campaign ended, there was a noticeable uptick in compilation sales that included this track, with some Elvis fan clubs even organizing neighborhood cleanup events inspired by the commercial. The Presley estate was reportedly pleased with how the campaign respected Elvis's image while highlighting a lesser-known part of his musical legacy. Despite the perfect marriage of song and product, the campaign remains largely forgotten today, possibly because it never aired nationally. Number 6. Return to Sender. FedEx, 1996. Did you know FedEx once used Elvis's mail-themed hit in a campaign that barely anyone remembers? In 1996, FedEx briefly ran a commercial featuring Return to Sender that highlighted their package tracking system as a solution to the problem Elvis sang about. The ad cleverly positioned FedEx as the answer to Elvis's mailing woes with the tagline, "If Elvis had FedEx, he'd still have his girlfriend." Despite the perfect pairing of song and service, the commercial ran for just 3 months before being pulled due to unexpected copyright complications. Return to Sender, written by Otis Blackwell and Winfield Scott, was a number 2 hit for Elvis in 1962 and featured in his film Girls, Girls, Girls. While the song remains one of Elvis's more recognizable hits, this commercial has been largely forgotten, possibly because of its short run. The ad showed a series of packages being returned with increasingly elaborate "Return to Sender" stamps and markings, mirroring the lyrics where Elvis describes his letter coming back with similar notifications. FedEx had secured rights from Elvis Presley Enterprises, but encountered issues with the song's publishing rights, which were held by a separate entity. According to former FedEx marketing executive Sandra Coleman, it was the perfect song for our service, and initial testing showed customers loved the connection, but the legal complications made continuing the campaign untenable. The commercial is occasionally mentioned in advertising textbooks as a classic example of perfect song selection undercut by inadequate rights clearance. Interestingly, shortly after this campaign was pulled, the U.S. Postal Service approached Elvis Presley Enterprises about using the same song for one of their campaigns, but were turned down reportedly because the estate didn't want to appear disloyal to FedEx despite the campaign's early end. Number 5. Bossa Nova Baby Target Holiday Campaign, 2013. Ever heard Elvis singing in the background while watching people shop for holiday gifts? Target's 2013 holiday campaign featured a remixed version of Elvis's upbeat Bossa Nova Baby, but most shoppers never realized they were bopping their heads to the king while filling their carts. The commercial series showed families preparing for Christmas with Target products, while the energetic 1963 track played underneath festive scenes. Bossa Nova Baby was originally recorded for the film Fun in Acapulco and reached pound 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. But over time it had become overshadowed by Elvis's more iconic hits. Target's advertising team wanted something festive that wasn't an obvious Christmas song, and this upbeat track fit their vision perfectly. The commercials featured a slightly remixed version with enhanced percussion that gave the nearly 50-year-old recording a contemporary feel. According to former Target creative director Jennifer Woodson, "We tested dozens of songs, but Bossa Nova Baby had this magical quality that made people feel happy and energetic, without screaming, Christmas, commercial." Most fascinating was that younger focus groups loved the song but had no idea it was Elvis. The campaign ran throughout the 2013 holiday season, but was replaced the following year with a different concept. Sales data for music streaming services showed a 340% increase in plays of Bossa Nova Baby during the campaign period, indicating that viewers were seeking out the song after hearing it in the commercials. Target considered bringing the campaign back for subsequent years, but ultimately decided against it, making this one of the more ephemeral uses of Elvis's music in advertising. The commercial's designer holiday aesthetic and quick cuts meant many viewers focused more on the products than identifying the song playing in the background. Number 4. That's All Right. Levi's 501 Jeans, 1991. Can you imagine a young Elvis buying his first pair of Levi's? A 1991 Levi's commercial imagined exactly that, featuring a recreation of a teenage Elvis entering a Memphis clothing store to purchase his first pair of 501 jeans, while his groundbreaking song, That's All Right, played in the background. This commercial was part of Levi's original campaign that highlighted historical figures who supposedly wore their products. That's All Right was Elvis's first commercial recording from 1954 at Sun Records, and is considered by many historians to be one of the first true rock and roll records. Despite the song's historical significance, it wasn't a chart hit in Elvis's lifetime and remained relatively unknown to casual fans until this commercial. The ad featured an actor portraying a young Elvis who was clearly modeled after James Dean rather than attempting a perfect Presley impersonation. According to Levi's brand historian Lynn Downey, "We wanted to capture the spirit of rock and roll's birth without doing an Elvis impersonation. The commercial was about how Levi's was there at these pivotal cultural moments." The commercial primarily aired during MTV programming and targeted younger viewers who might not have been familiar with Elvis's earliest, more raw recordings. What's particularly interesting about this usage is that That's All Right was one of the few Elvis recordings not owned by RCA at the time, as it was part of his Sun Records catalog. This made the licensing process more complicated but also less expensive than using his better-known hits. The commercial ran for approximately 6 months before being phased out as part of the regular rotation of Levi's advertising concepts. While Elvis aficionados remember this usage, the general public has largely forgotten this brief moment when one of rock's foundational recordings was used to sell blue jeans. Number 3. Viva Las Vegas. Las Vegas Tourism Board, 2009. Did you know Las Vegas waited until 2009 to use Elvis's iconic Viva Las Vegas in their official tourism campaigns? It seems obvious in retrospect, yet for decades the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority avoided using the song that has become synonymous with the city. The 2009 campaign featured a remarkably subtle use of the track, with instrumental versions and brief vocal snippets appearing throughout a series of commercials that showcased the modern Las Vegas experience. Viva Las Vegas was recorded in 1963 for the film of the same name, which starred Elvis and Anne Margaret. While the song has become culturally associated with the city, it only reached pound 29 on the Billboard charts during its initial release. The tourism campaign deliberately used the song sparingly rather than making it the centerpiece, which may explain why many viewers don't remember its inclusion. According to former Las Vegas tourism marketing executive Richard Coleman, we were concerned about leaning too heavily into the Elvis connection because we wanted to showcase the contemporary Las Vegas experience. Using instrumental versions and brief clips, let us tip our hat to tradition while keeping the focus on today's Vegas. The commercials primarily targeted domestic travelers aged 25 to 45 who were looking for vacation destinations during the post-recession travel industry recovery. What makes this campaign particularly interesting is that it represented one of the first times the Las Vegas Tourism Board officially embraced the Elvis connection after decades of trying to distance themselves from the Elvis impersonator culture that had become part of the city's identity. The campaign tested well, but was eventually replaced with other concepts, as the city continued to evolve its branding. Streaming data showed only a minimal increase in Viva Las Vegas plays during the campaign, suggesting that many viewers didn't make the connection between the background music and Elvis's classic recording. Number 2. Guitarman Guitar Center, 2004. Ever heard Elvis jamming alongside contemporary musicians? In 2004, music retailer Guitar Center launched a commercial featuring Elvis's 1967 recording Guitar Man, playing as customers of different ages and styles tried out instruments in their stores. The ad cleverly positioned Elvis as the original Guitar Man, who would approve of their selection and service. Guitar Man, written by Jerry Reed, jockeyed Elvis's interest in more rootsy material during the late 1960s, but wasn't one of his major hits. The commercial ideally isolated Elvis's vocals and mixed them with new instrumental tracks to create a more contemporary sound that would appeal to modern musicians. According to former Guitar Center marketing director Steven Rodriguez, we wanted something that honored music tradition but didn't feel stuck in the past. Guitar Man had lyrics that perfectly fit our brand, and Elvis's voice has this timeless quality that resonated with both 18-year-old beginners and 60-year-old seasoned players. The campaign primarily ran on music-focused cable channels and in print, ads in guitar magazines. What made this usage particularly interesting was the technical work involved. Isolating Elvis's vocals from the original mono recording required cutting-edge audio processing that had only recently become available. The Presley estate was initially hesitant about the remixing aspect, but ultimately approved after hearing how respectful the new arrangement was to Elvis's performance. The commercial ran for approximately 1 year, primarily in markets where Guitar Center had physical locations. Sales data showed the campaign was particularly effective with customers aged 35 to 50, who reported nostalgia as a factor in their purchasing decisions. Despite the technical innovation and perfect brand alignment, this commercial has largely been forgotten in discussions of Elvis's music in advertising, possibly because it targeted a specific niche market rather than general consumers. Number 1. If I Can Dream. United Airlines, 1994. Can a song written as a response to tragedy help sell airline tickets? In 1994, United Airlines briefly ran a commercial featuring Elvis's powerful 1968 recording, If I Can Dream, overlaid with images of people reuniting at airports around the world. The song, written shortly after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., contains lyrics about a better world where brothers walk hand in hand. This made it a poignant choice for a campaign focused on United's global reach and ability to bring people together. If I Can Dream was the emotional climax of Elvis's 1968 comeback special on NBC and represented one of his most passionate vocal performances. But it wasn't one of his better-known songs among casual fans. The United commercial used only the soaring chorus rather than the entire song, which may explain why many viewers never identified it as an Elvis recording. The campaign was designed to position United as a socially conscious global carrier during a period when international air travel was becoming more accessible to middle-class Americans. According to former United marketing executive William Richards, we wanted something with emotional resonance that spoke to human connection without being saccharine. When our music supervisor suggested this Elvis song, most of the team didn't even know it, but everyone was moved when they heard it. The commercial primarily ran during news programs and Sunday morning political shows, targeting business travelers and more affluent leisure travelers. What makes this usage particularly interesting is that If I Can Dream was one of Elvis's most personal and political statements, making its use in a commercial somewhat controversial among Elvis aficionados. The campaign ran for only 4 months before being replaced with a more straightforward promotion focused on fare prices. Despite the brevity of the campaign, it represents one of the most artistically ambitious uses of Elvis's music in advertising, pairing one of his most passionate performances with imagery designed to evoke similar emotions. Were marketers right to believe Elvis's less famous works could move products just as effectively as his biggest hits?